So that I don't break up sets, because we all know I got a little issue with that. Just a little bit. Hi everyone, I'm Moody Boo and I'm back with another house review. Now this will be a part 1 because I have, I think, 10 from the house of Hermes. And so my part 1 will be my bubble bottles. My circular bottles. I don't know what you call them, but I just always thought of them as my bubble bottles. So we'll just get started. A couple of them I'm not going to go too heavy on because I have talked about them in the past. So I'm just going to, I say that, why do I say that? And then I babble on and on. So whatever happens, happens. First up. Now the first one I'm going to talk about is my latest purchase from the house of Hermes. From the house of Hermes, and that is L'Ombre de Merveilles. I have a thing about these Merveilles ones, I tell you. And this one is very pretty. It's grown on me. The more I've worn it, the more I like it. So this is one of those that at first I wasn't real sure about it. Then I really liked it. And now I really, really like it. Do I love it? Not sure. But I might love it more in my husband. So it may end up being one of those walk-by sprayings that I have certain perfumes that I don't necessarily wear, but I want to smell on him. This may end up being one of those because I really, really like it on me. But I'm not sure if it's really for me. So according to Fragrantica, let me put the caveat, unsure of the accuracy, it's tea, incense, and tonka. And it is a lot of tea and incense. I think the tonka is just kind of a base for it. It just kind of anchors it a little bit because I don't really, it's fairly linear. So I don't really get that rich, sometimes chewy, edible kind of a note that tonka can give a perfume. I don't get that any part of the perfume. But when it dries down, it does get a little warmer. A hint sweeter because when you first spray it, it's very fresh. It's almost like there's some citruses in there too, because just thinking of tea and incense, this is much fresher than that portrays in the note pyramid. There is definitely tea and incense, absolutely, but there's a fresh cleanness to this, especially at the top. Once the tonka kicks in, I think that takes away the cleanness a little bit. And like I said, it just kind of grounds it. It's very nice. I really like it. We shall see if I love it on my husband or not. I am going to try it on him though. Performance is not too bad. It's about 6 hours. And this is kind of, I consider it kind of a freshy perfume. So 6 hours is pretty good. And tea perfumes aren't notorious for lasting, all day and night. Projection, it's under arm's length. And then it becomes pretty close to the body after 4 hours or so. Super unisex. I mean, there is no one side or the other, but I don't think tea is one of those notes. It's some of the other notes that surround it might make it smell a little more masculine as opposed to feminine or vice versa. But tea in of itself, I think, is a super unisex note. And so this absolutely is very unisex. This is one absolutely, I only wear it during the day, and I don't reach for it often because I have other Hermes that I wear much more often. So I don't hardly ever reach for this. I do smell it on occasion, just like this. Just to see, do I want to wear it? Because it's not a mindless perfume for me. It could be. It could go in the mindless part, but my mindless perfumes are also my favorites. I mean, I absolutely adore them, so I never mind wearing them. This one, it's not quite there. It's not quite there for me. So I haven't put it in the mindless perfumes, but it would be totally appropriate for work, daytime activities. Nighttime, you know, if it's I guess a formal occasion, it would be fine for a nighttime get together. A work occasion, it'd be totally appropriate for that if it was at night. But other than that, like I said, there's other from the house of Hermes that I just appreciate way more than this one. So it is not my favorite from the house, but I really like it. And I think a lot of people probably adore it. So, all right, that's about it for that one. Let's hit the next one. The next one I do like very much, and that's Eau de Merveilles Bleue. And I love this ombre bottle, right? I don't like the bottles in general because they're very tippy. And the next one, the L'ombre one, it almost has a defect in the bottom. So even on a flat surface, it's tippy. It's weird. I don't like that. I like the way they look. I don't like the way they're shaped. So I just have to throw that out there because they make me crazy. I have to have them up against something. And then I got to have something else in front of it because I don't want it to tip over. So there is that. But this one's very pretty. Now you can tell I don't wear it very much. It's just, it's beautiful. But again, it's like L'ombre de Merveilles. There's just others in the house that I reach for much more often. And so I don't wear it often. And I think this is one I would also love more on my husband than on myself. So this will also be on one of these shelves here once I established his area for walk by spraying perfumes, so that I don't break up sets. Because we all know I've got a little issue with that. Just a little bit. All right, and this is aquatic sea notes, specifically woody notes and patchouli. And the patchouli, again, is like the tonka in L'ombre. It just anchors it. But you do get more of it, more of a distinct earthy note in the dry down with Blue than you do with L'ombre. The sea notes are very prominent, but they mix really well with the wood notes. So I almost picture in the PNW, in the Pacific Northwest, along the Washington and Oregon coast. I don't know if it's like that on all coasts. I've been to the East Coast. I don't remember them having nearly as much driftwood as we have on the West Coast. I don't know why that would be, but there you go. We get a lot of driftwood that washes up. Hawaii gets almost none. But Washington, it's one of my favorite things to do is walk along a Washington or Oregon beach because there's so much to see. And there's a smell. There's absolutely the sea life, decaying sea life and living sea life smell. You know, that fishiness is definitely there. But if you get away from all of the kelp and all of the places where, you know, there's a lot of seashells and things like that, over to where all the driftwood is. And we're talking small pieces all the way to huge trees that are on the beach. Huge trees or huge roots from trees that will go up. You know, I've got pictures of me. I'll see if I can find one and I'll post a picture of it. Standing next to, no, I got my coffee cup to give it scale on this huge tree. We're salmon fishing at CQ, Washington, which is almost to the very northwest tip of the state. It's still in the Straits of Juan de Fuca. It's not out in the Pacific yet, but just barely, like by 15 miles or something. And on the beach, my husband and I took a canoe out to do some bottom fishing out in the kelp bed. And on the beach, there was this huge, the tree had been cut, but the root system was there. And just the trunk of the bottom stump of the tree, and then this amazing root system. Well, this thing had been soaked by the ocean time and time again. It had been bleached by the sun to where it was this almost silvery gray kind of a color. A lot of the driftwood, if it's been there a long time, is like that. And once it gets to that, it's sitting on the beach for a long time, it gets an aroma to it. It's this wet wood sea salt. kind of a smell and a little bit of organic to it. This C note does not have that organic component to it like what you would get actually from driftwood on the ocean beach. But it has that DNA. It has the underlying smell of that wet sea, that soaked wood from seawater kind of a smell, and that's beautiful. And then the patchouli to me just adds this dimension, like you would smell the surrounding foliage that are just beyond the beach. The seawater is too much for them to grow right on the beach, but they're right there because they like the sea spray. You know, it's like smelling that whole scenario, that whole dynamic between the sea, the living plants, and the dead ones. I really love those kind of perfumes that can tell a story. Does this do it perfectly? No. No. I do wish there was a little more to it. This has that air about it that I've smelled before. It has a genome to it that you get with a lot of men's aquatic, woody kind of perfumes. So it doesn't take it to the next level. It stays right in the mid-range that it's a great perfume. This one is very close to being a mindless perfume, but it's not quite to my favorite stage. I am just getting into some aquatic and sea note kind of perfumes, and this is right up there right now, but I've only just begun my journey. So I have a feeling it's going to fall down the ladder as I discover new aquatic and sea note kind of dominant perfumes that I like more. But right now, I really like it. Do I love it? No, I don't think so. I don't know. No, I don't. No, I don't love it. But I really, really like it. And every time I wear it, I'm very glad I have it on, which you can tell is not very often. So, but again, this may be a walk-by spraying on my husband. So, yeah, I got to make him a shell. That's ridiculous. All right, the next one I was going to talk about is L'Ombre de Merveilles. Now, I did a review on this years ago, I think when it first came out. I don't even know when it came out. Not that long ago, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. So I was so disappointed. I was really into amber at that time, like greedy for it, obsessed, just like a shark in the water, and somebody's bleeding kind of a thing. It's like a new amber perfume by Hermes. I love Hermes. Yes, blind buy. And the bottle got here. I sprayed it and I was like, what? I was so disappointed. I tried it over and over again and I was bummed. Performance sucked. Projection sucked. The length that it stayed on my skin sucked. The smell itself was a huge disappointment, but I had it really built up in my head. So that is no fault of theirs. That is my own fault. So then I got rid of that bottle. Well, later on, like last year, I came across a friend of mine was getting rid of her bottle for like super, super cheap because it was the first time she tried it. And she was in the same stage I was years back to where she was so disappointed and just wanted to get rid of it. And I'm like, you sure you don't want to hang on to it? And I thought, I've changed. I'm just going to buy it off of her. It's a cheap price. I'm just going to take it and see what happens. So then I like it more now. Do I love it? No. But I like it more. I'm not nearly as disappointed with the aroma as I was the first time. But there's two other parts to that, projection and longevity. And those both still suck for me. That's unfortunate. That's why I don't wear it very much at all. I mean, now at all. But I did wear it for a while because I really like it. It's amber and vanilla and labdanum and patchouli, according to Fragrantica. It's very nice. It's kind of benign. There's, to me, no big dimension to it. There's nothing wrong with it by any way, shape, or form. And like I said, I do enjoy the perfume much more, the aroma much more now than I did years back. It has a bit of a, it's almost like a stony amber at the very beginning. You don't get a lot of the vanilla and the labdanum and patchouli at the start. It's mostly about this cold, stony amber. And the labdanum really kicks in for me within 5 to 10 minutes. And the patchouli starts really kicking in. Now, as it dries down, it does get sweeter, and that must be from the vanilla. I should assume, I can deduce. But for me, it's all about the amber and the labdanum with a patchouli base. It seems like there's some other notes in there that Fragrantica is missing, but I'll go with what they have. It doesn't smell complex. They have a much better offering with Amber Narguilé, in my opinion. Much better. Way, way better. So I am still disappointed in the performance. It becomes a skin scent within a couple hours for me, really honestly. And within 15 minutes is when the skin scent journey begins, where it starts pulling in from projecting a little bit and to clinging onto my skin like a grown child that just won't leave the house. So it's not a favorite amber. It's not. It's never going to be. It's a pretty bottle, but it's tippy. But I do like the bottle. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I think they missed it. I just, it's very unisex, but it's just nothing to write home about for me as far as an amber goes. But I'm glad I have it because now I have most of the bubble bottles. So I'm happy about that. All right, I guess that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, next. So I kind of did things backwards. I actually bought a flanker before I bought the original in this perfume, because this one's Eau de Merveilles, and I got Elixir before I got Eau de Merveilles. But I was so crazy when I went through my first bottle of Elixir. I was like, I have to explore more of this line, the Merveilles line, because oh my God, it is still a favorite. So I went ahead and got Eau de Merveilles, and this is, like I said, the original, and this is so pretty. It's an orange grove in the middle of a forest for me. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Oh, yes, I like Eau de Merveilles very much. So this, God, it smells good, is orange and fir and amber and cedar, and there's some pepper and eleni and pink pepper and some vetiver and oak moss, lemon, violet. But for me, it's all about this ambery orange grove in the middle of a forest. I gotta spray this again without eating it this time because it smells better than it tastes, but it doesn't taste that bad. I've tasted worse. Oh. This is fruity, but oh God, it smells so good, but earthy, and that amber note adds this warmth to it. It's not a cold, stony kind of an amber. It's a warm, almost magma kind of an amber. I don't know why I said magma, but just a hot amber mixed with a cool orange and in a cool forest. Now this doesn't have a big trajectory for me. And I know linear perfumes really turn some people off, but that's why I have perfumes that have huge dimensions, and then I've got my linears. And I appreciate the linears, especially if I love their top notes. Then I am especially happy that they don't have a big up and down with their dry down. This is one of those. It has some. There is some, because you do get more of those green notes. The vetiver, the oak moss adds a little bit of dryness, earthy dryness to it in the dry down. But you don't lose that orange grove in the middle of the forest. That stays. Oh my God. And there's a hint of sweetness to it. Just a hint with the dry down that I have to assume is from maybe the lemon, maybe a little pink pepper. I don't know, but oh, performance on this is better than the other three that I just discussed. I would say Eau de Merveilles, I would get easily 8 hours out of it. Easily 8 hours, yeah. And it projects to, you know, between elbow and hand, most of the wearing. It does project pretty good, you know, pretty beastly actually for the first half an hour, but it comes in pretty quickly after that half an hour to where it stays, you know, just your scent bubble is only maybe a foot or two around you, but it's a beautiful one. There's nothing offensive about this perfume. I would wear this to work. I would wear this during the day. I would wear this at night to go out to formal or private date night kind of occasions. Partying, hell yeah, if you want to smell super classy. There's just something very inviting about this perfume. It just beckons a person to come closer to you in order to smell it a little more and see what you're about. Now, I don't want that because I'm married, but hey, single people should apply. Oh my God, I love this perfume. I am so glad I have both. I know it's because Eau de Merveilles is very close to Elixir, but very unisex, super unisex. Absolutely male or female. It's a wonderful, perfect perfume. Almost perfect. The perfect perfume's coming up. This is as close to a perfect perfume for me as I can say. It is much similar to Eau de Merveilles, but there's more dimension to it. More of the notes you can detect. It's not just an orange grove in the middle of the forest. So this is orange and resins and amber and caramel, Peru balsam, cedar, patchouli, some other woody notes, incense, sandalwood, tonka, vanilla. It is not very sweet. So don't let the vanilla fool you and the tonka. They are at the bottom of the pyramid as far as what you detect when you wear this perfume. It is all about the orange and the amber, the resins and the Peru balsam and some of those woody notes for me. There is a correlation to perfumes that I find I absolutely go crazy over, and they have Peru balsam in them. I'm going to have to explore that a little more because I'm thinking that's a note I tend to like very much. And I don't think it's a standout in this. To me, again, this is a very orangey amber, but you're not in that forest. And you're not necessarily in the orange grove. You're smelling the oranges, but they are now indoors in a church, an old wooden church, that a lot of really good oils have been used on the wooden pews and pillars. Some incense had been burning in the background once upon a time, but no longer. There's just a memory of it in the air. That's kind of what I picture with this, but it's a warm place. It's like it's cold outside, but it's warm inside this church, this old abandoned church. I love this perfume. And I have, since that gal at the airport, that young gal, I have gotten multiple compliments on it. That has no bearing on what I feel about the perfume. Oh, this is a desert island perfume. It will be in my collection. In fact, look at hell. Oh my God, I'm getting low. Ooh, I better buy a backup. I don't have a backup in stock right now. Oh, that makes me a little flushed. I get a little anxious thinking about running out of this perfume. And I've been wearing it for years. So I've had it 8 years, 9 years, something like that. And I will continue to purchase this perfume because it is that beautiful. It's my favorite. From the House of Hermes. Hermes is a good house because they have another one on part 2 that I will talk about that, oh, they have 2 in their house that I absolutely adore. One for sure is a desert island perfume. The other one has some performance issues, so I'm not sure if it is. But this is a desert island perfume. This one will always be in my collection. And I continue to wear it. I just wore it last week. I mean, and oh, and the big thing is, you would think with a big, deep, ambery, resinous kind of a perfume that would really lend itself to cool weather. No, 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 no. This is my favorite summer perfume. Spring, summer. That's when I pull it out. Because I have a lot of winter perfumes that I adore. I just adore. And this is perfect in the wintertime. Don't get me wrong. But I reach for it in the summertime because that ambery orange, resinous ambery orange is beautiful in the warm weather. Now, I usually wear it at night, but not always. I've worn it to work. It's a bit too classy for work. What I mean by that is this is something you would wear to something formal, in my opinion, but also to going out and having a good time, getting loud, because this thing performs. It performs with a capital P-E-R-F-O-R-M-S. It really performs. I get easily 10 hours out of it, out of 2 sprays, and it projects. It's beast mode. So I usually don't go over 2 sprays, but thing is that it's so warm and it's so inviting and it's so non-offensive that even if it was too much, if you oversprayed, nobody's going to complain about it. I promise you, because it won't be something that bites their eyes or burns their nose or, you know, does anything like that. It's not like that. It's too warm and it's too just heady. It totally unisex. And I just adore this. I have for years, and I will continue to adore it. But you know what? Eau de Merveilles is growing on me big time, and they are different. There's more green to Eau de Merveilles than there is in Elixir. Elixir is warmer. Eau de Merveilles is greener and a little moister, I think. So Hermes has done pretty amazing shit with their perfumes, I gotta say, because this is, and that is, and those are. All right, well, I guess that's about it for part 1 of House of Hermes perfume review. And I'll be back soon with part 2. I got part 2 sitting there lined up, and I leave them there until I get them done, because my husband will give me a week or 2 to be lazy, and then he'll be like, honey, I really like that picture of us. Can you put it back up on the mantle, please? He's so cute. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. And don't forget to like and subscribe and ding the bell if you won't. If you don't, it's all good. I still love ya. All right, everybody, use your own nose. Bye.